What's up, everybody? It's Big John. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about why I haven't made a cleaning video or why I haven't made a pressing video on comics. I've gotten a lot of emails asking me why I don't show what I do, and there's only one reason, and that's I'm afraid that someone is going to try to copy what I do, and that they're going to mess up their book by attempting to do what I've showed you. That's honestly as simple as I can make it. I have a lot of passion for this hobby. I have a lot of passion for what I do, and I have a lot of respect for the art, the writing that goes into these books, and I don't want to see anybody attempt to do what I do and ruin their book. Plain and simple. And that's as forthright as I can be. I've watched hundreds of YouTube videos, and I've seen people press books wrong. I've seen them press a book with spine ticks and creases on them and lines going down, and they press them, and none of that stuff comes out because they don't do it properly, or they just don't know how. They've learned these things from watching other people do it, and they haven't done the trial and error and sacrificed to get to the point where I am, or Rick Morgan from Immaculate Comics is. You know, you're talking 30 and 40 years of just trial and error, trying to get these books as clean as you possibly can get them because they're yours. Okay, so I showed on a video the other day, or yesterday actually, I bought a Web of Spider-Man annual #1. I paid $5 for it. I've already worked approximately about 4 hours on it. I've done 2 coats of Immaculate. Thank you, Rick. I actually dilute mine a little more than he does. I did not follow his instructions. I actually thinned it out more. So I've actually done 2 coats on this Web of Spider-Man annual #1. This book was extremely yellow, and as you can see, I put the board behind it so you don't see the black coming through the cover. But as you can see, it's starting to whiten really good. And this comic was extremely yellow, okay? This basically was in somebody's garage. As you can see, it's getting a lot whiter with just a couple of coats, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to walk you through it, how I do it. Okay? A couple things you're going to need. You're going to need the comic you're working on. You're going to want to put a magazine board underneath. I'm using a TV tray for this demonstration. There's a magazine board on the bottom. I have the comic book, and behind the cover is a backing board. Okay? You want to push it in as far as you can to the spine. Not too hard, because we're going to be adding moisture. If you push too hard on that backing board behind the cover, you could actually push through the book because it's going to get wet. So you have to be very careful. Make sure your board is in there before you add moisture to your comic cover. You're going to need some makeup pad removers, makeup remover pads. We're going to be using the scrubby side. You're going to want your cleaner, whatever you choose to use. I have distilled water and Immaculate. Why distilled water? Very simple. It doesn't have any sediment, and it doesn't leave anything behind. And then mine is 22 mils, and I only used 4 mils of Immaculate, not 6. Okay? So all I'm going to do is I have my non-stick sheet sitting right next to me here, right? Which doesn't seem to want to cooperate, so we'll set it right here. And I have that hand iron that I showed everybody. This is set at 225 degrees right now. Okay, So that's what you're going to need. That's all you're going to need. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to add some heat to the book. Now you can do this and put it in your press, but I have it sitting here. I'm just going to use it because I think it's a little bit convenient since it's here. So what I want to do is I want to activate whatever dirt might be left on the book. So I'm just going to add a little heat. And I'm just going to go over the whole book one time. That's just going to give me, it's at 225 degrees. I'm just going to reanimate the ink. Everything on this book. Never want to stop. I'm going to go side to side and up and down, and then I'm going to be done. That's going to give me just enough heat to reanimate. I'm using no pressure at all. I'm letting the weight of the iron with all the pressure. So you want to do this kind of quickly. You don't want your heat to dissipate too fast. I'm removing my sheet. I'm going to take my pad. I'm going to pump 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now, your pressure is simple. Only the pressure and weight of this pad do you want to use on your book. That's it. Notice that the book is not moving. And you're going to want to do this. No pressure at all. And then you're going to want to go, you went up and down vertically. Now you want to go side to side. Left to right. Again, no pressure. That book should not move. Because you don't want any of the paper fibers breaking off the book. I hit the book. It moved, but I hit it with my finger. The one thing you want to be mindful of is yellows. Like this robot is pink, but so far I've been really light over him, and I've been heating it up pretty good that he hasn't faded at all. Yellows, pinks, and they fade kind of good. So again, we're just going to straighten it a little bit. And then I want to go over these edges. So I'm going to add just a little bit more MacuClean and distilled water. And I'm going to go over these white edges with just a little bit of pressure. I mean, barely any. And this book just doesn't want to cooperate. Just barely any pressure, and just go over those white. Right? And then I want to do across the word Spider-Man, because it's white around it. And believe it or not, man, that has become really white. I mean, that thing was so yellow, it wasn't even funny. It was gross. Now, because I've done this a few times already, I've gotten a lot of dirt off this. I mean, the pads I used, they were just sickly looking. So I'm going to move my distilled water and MacuClean out of the way. Now I'm going to put my non-sheet back on top of it. And now I want to heat it up. Go really smooth across the spine. And believe it or not, it's almost the same as like steaming it to get your spine ticks off. Right now there's no spine ticks on this book because I've done this like 3 times. But this book really did need it because it was so dingy and yellow. Right? So never stop. Do not stop moving this iron, because it will burn the book. Just keep it going. So now I've done 2 complete passes vertically. Now I'm going to go left to right. Now, the key to left to right is don't go over the spine. Don't roll it over the spine. Go right as close as you can to it. Constantly moving. Do not stop. Now this is almost going to be like a simulated pressing, because you're going to see the gloss on the book and all that. But believe me, we're not done. Now once you get done with that, go back and just hit that spine really carefully. And because there's spine ticks, you don't want to just do the spine. You have to come out a little bit. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to flatten it and just do that black line on that spine just to keep that nice edge. Okay, so that's what I've done. Now I'm going to remove my sheet. You only want to do this with this sheet. You want to keep flipping it over and then flipping it back. Once you do that twice, once on each side and then once again on each side, take this and throw it away, because you'll have dirt transfer on it and all kinds of stuff. So you're not going to want to keep reusing it, right? So you want to look at the book. You know, you have your good light here. So we're going to pick this back up here. We just want to move the board a little bit to make sure that nothing's sticking. And as you can see, it's really starting to whiten, especially right here where it says Spider-Man. It's really starting to lighten, but you're going to see these wrinkles because it's still really, really moist. Because, you know, to get all of this stuff off, it's going to take you a while. I've done this now, that's my third time. This is my second piece. And I just flipped it. You just saw that, I hope. Now I just want to pull a little bit moisture out, so I'm going to go a little slower. This book was so dirty that it needed that little bit of extra moisture. And if you're worried about, you know, did you use too much ImmacuClean and you see streaks or something on the book, you can always rinse the cover or wipe it with another makeup and do it 3 or 4 times with just distilled water, and it'll pull all the residue off the book. But you see, this is all I'm doing. I'm never stopping. This is all I'm doing. I'm just adding a little bit of heat, going over that spine really careful. We don't want to pop a staple. We don't want the cover getting detached. So we want to be really careful. I'm going to go over these edges. I'm just taking my time. I'm not in no hurry. So there, we've pulled out a lot of the moisture. There's still a little bit in there. So now I want to let it set, right? I want to let it air dry until it's completely dry. And it's going to wrinkle like crazy. Right? So that's what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to lift this like this. Basically put this board in front of the spine of the other board. Then I'm going to take my roll and I'm going to set it in here. And I just want it to lean just like that. That way I can get air circulating through under between this board and the cover, and that's how I'm going to let it air dry, just like that. And I'm not going to touch it. I want it to, when I come back over here and put my hands on this, I want it to be completely dry. And you guys can see how white that has become. So if you watch my video from yesterday, when I showed this book on camera, you could see how yellow it was, and now how white it's becoming, right? Now, I don't have to keep, because I know that inside this border, I know that that Spider-Man word is as white as, that looks whiter than the book was brand new. right? I know that that's clean. And I know that the white in Spider-Man on his spider, on his back, and his eye, and this robot's eye, I know that those whites are really, really, really bright, bleachy looking white. So I won't need to do any of this anymore. And I won't need to do the corner where the Marvel is, where Spider-Man is, because that is really white, right? But still up here in this corner, and this edge, and this bottom corner, and this little bit right here, I'm still not happy with that, how that looks. I want that to look like that. So I'm going to continue to do this until I am satisfied with the result. Right? I don't care how long it takes. This is like a $15 or $20 book. Now imagine what I'm going to do with my expensive books. I'm going to take even more time. I'm going to expend more energy. But the end result is going to be worth my time and the effort in which I put into it. Because I care. I'm passionate about what I'm doing. And I have respect for my material, and I have respect for the book. And it's important to me. So, if you're going to attempt this, please be careful. Be careful. This will burn the hell out of you. You can get that on Amazon. It's called the Pro Trim Sealing Tool. You can buy these makeup pads at CVS, Walgreens, Target, Walmart. Get them anywhere. A MacuClean you can only get from Rick Morgan. It comes in a vial about that big. He'll send it to you. Just follow the directions. Use common sense. Take your time. Don't use no pressure. Just use the pressure from the weight of this pad and just pull it gently across. That's all you got to do. Just hold it like that. I use 3 pumps on the bottle that I got from Rick Morgan. You can use 2 or just use however much you think you might need. But do your due diligence. Take your time. Be patient. And I promise you, you can get the same results. And my hope is you do it better than me, or better than the next person. Because the more people that get it, the longer these books will last. This is Big John. Thank you for watching, but I'm out.